Howdy, howdy. There we go. 50 people to start, 60 people to start off with. Perfect. Hi, hello, and welcome to one more session of Smartlead's Office Hours. My name is Akash, your dedicated customer success manager here at Smartlead. There we go, Christo. Welcome, sir. We always want to start the session with the audience. So before we jump into today's session, take a moment, click on the chat icon at the bottom center of your screen, and let us know where you're joining from, how the weather is on your end, and also let us know if you're with an agency, a freelancer, or a part of a SaaS company. We'd love to know. And what could be more interesting is also let us know the time, what's the time where you're dialing in from. So again, center's bottom chat option, keep hammering. Tampa, Florida, super sunny here. Can't complain. I'm quite cozy here as well in India. Panama City, UK, global audience as always. Keep it coming. San Francisco, fog, Himachal, India, rainy, freelancer. Awesome. Himachal is a beautiful place. France, sunny, Coimbatore, Singapore. Oh, I love seeing people dining in from it. It's always global. Love seeing that. Appreciate y'all taking the time for this, guys, from the bottom of my heart. Awesome. Georgia, freelancer. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. We'd love to see that. But also today about our guest, Mohamed Chahin. Mohamed is the founder and the CEO of Twain, a company which has built deep research to relevantly personalize your outreach campaigns. Before starting Twain, he co founded a virtual restaurant chain, growing teams across Europe before exiting. His passion for communication comes from his experience growing up as a refugee, where he saw firsthand how hard life can be when you can't express yourself clearly. Capitalizing on that passion from seeing all the missed revenue just because we never learn how to communicate with our customers. So, Mohamed, over to you, sir. A quick round of introduction, and then we kickstart.
Yeah, thank you so much. Very excited to be here, and thanks for the invitation. And very cool to see so many people jump into the chat, share where they're dialing in from. So I'll do the same. I'm in London right now. It is sunny right now, but it's probably has been going back and forth between sun and rain 5 times today. So and it is 4 p.m. here. So yeah, very excited, and thanks for the kind words and the introduction. So
Absolutely. Thank you
we
so much.
really hope to, yeah, make this helpful and valuable, and share everything we learned building Twain.
100%. And thank you so much for taking the time as well out of a busy schedule, Mohamed Chain. And about today's session, right? AI can supercharge outbound workflows, but only if you use it the right way. So, for all of y'all who are here in this session, Mohammed is going to walk us through how to combine Clay, Twain, and Smartlead to create scalable, personalized outreach while avoiding all the common AI pitfalls. Mohammed, sir, the floor is on to you. Take ahead.
Yes, I'm actually gonna give you all a little bit of context. So before I do, like, feel free to drop in the comment if you have like tried a previous version of Twain, if you tried Twain's integrations in Clay. By now we are on version 3, which has the deep research we've built. And yeah, also feel free to share like any questions in case you are building any kind of mega prompts or like any kind of prompt setups with AI. If you have like any kind of questions, we'll do our best to answer them, even if you're not using Twain. What do we have prepared for today together with Smartlead's amazing team? We thought about it, brainstormed like what is most helpful. I'm actually going to walk you through a real campaign. It's going to be a real campaign with a real lead list for Twain, because we use Twain ourselves for our inbound and for our outbound. And we are preparing a new campaign. And I actually thought, why not just walk you through it? We don't have the time to like obviously go into like the nitty-gritty and like show you everything. I'm completely gonna skip the list building part. I'm gonna tell you like who we are reaching out to, but like this part we're gonna completely skip. We're also gonna keep it a little bit simple in terms of setup in Smartlead and setup in Clay, but we're gonna walk through the entire, like all the tools. So that's what we're going to do, but just for the sake of time, so we can also talk a little bit. We're going to keep it fairly simple. And while going through the setup, I'm going to share like what we learned or like how I use Twain and yeah, what you should like just be aware of in terms of best practice. So who are we reaching out to? One of the key personas that or let's just say positions or teams within like in a revenue organization is revenue operations and demand generation for a bit later stage companies. So definitely post product market fit, and they are really, really enjoying this setup. Very popular setups, actually, all three tools like Twain, Clay, and Smartlead. And yeah, we are now like preparing, to educate them that, this is a tool that is available to help them with relevant personalization. So that's what the campaign is about, like to give you some context. Now I'm going to share my screen. We're going to start in Twain, and I'm literally going to walk you through all three platforms.
Awesome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. All right, so I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, big and clear.
Perfect. So this is Twain's landing page, and now I'm going to go into the editor, and let me just move this. And now we are here on the left side. We'll see an overview of our campaigns with folders. The lead list, I am now in this campaign. I have the lead list here. I have my persona here. I have, in this example, I'll show you one with multiple message steps. In this version, it's currently one message step. Now, I'm gonna, like, for the sake of showing you how to create this from scratch, I'm gonna create a new campaign here. So you go here when you want it to be automatically shared with your team space. I have Revenue Operations Europe. I have my persona. To get started, I would highly recommend to use Twain's auto import, where you could add your website, and then you could also add multiple additional URLs that Twain will read out, or you can upload your document. And that's a really fast way to get started. Now I'm going to continue. I'm going to upload this lead list. Twain already like auto mapped it. You either need a work email or a LinkedIn profile URL, so you can use Twain. Also applies to using Twain and Clay in case so you use the integration. Now, we have something pretty cool, like where you can, it's like we call it campaign idea. You can also ask Twain to suggest based on your value proposition to create this campaign idea, but you can also write it yourself. And if you ask me like, what should I write? This is now like one of the first moments of like, okay, what is best practice? I would highly recommend adding context and your intention. So context, hey, tell Twain a little bit about who we are reaching out to, intention, like why we are reaching out to them and what do we want to achieve. We see more and more campaigns being softer, more and more campaigns being like nurture campaigns. I think probably a lot of people here have used lead magnets in the past. So yeah, just talk a little bit about that. And then, for example, you want Twain to mention some specific social proof. You want to nudge Twain, hey, what are the things that might be relevant? Because Twain will actually be able to use all of this context when doing the deep research. So that's something very, very important. When you have like your pain points, your competitive advantage, your USP that you have under your persona, and then you have the campaign you're building, we can actually use it as context to go out and say, okay, please, can you now find everything that is relevant about this lead and their company. Now I'm gonna use one that I've used in the past. Actually, this one. Yeah. So for example, where I'm even mentioning, we have these direct integrations, and then I hit continue. And the last bit is probably um, the core of Twain when it comes to uh, what is actually possible, like what is very unique. What we have found being very unique about Twain is the level of customization that you can achieve in terms of message structure. And uh, and that's really just because we don't do anything else. That's our bread and butter. We do this 24/7. So I'll give you like an example. You want to do two things. For example, when you run outreach campaigns, when you run them for your clients or even for your revenue team, even for us right now, like we see different results based on different things that we test. So there is no other silver bullet that I have found, even in my previous company when we were still doing almost everything manual, and in Twain, than testing. Like you have to experiment with things. You have to A/B test things and just iterate on what you're learning. And the two core things that we iterate on today is, of course, the audience. Um, so we are very open-minded, but then like obviously where we see the most potential, we narrow down on that. And then the content. So, and when I talk about content, I talk about the structure, where we add personalization. Do we even add personalization? What do we write in the subject line? How long is it? Right? Um, you should, if you scale outreach, you should know what channels could be working. I think that's just my personal opinion.
Right.
But I think like in terms of content and things like that, you should be very open-minded. Um, and what we have built with Twain, and as a starting point, I'm just going to click auto now. Okay. And I'm going to say, okay, create an email campaign for me. So I didn't write like any kind of um, message structure prompt or styling or tone and these kind of things. So this is now going to take a few seconds. But what I'm going to show you next, and again, please DM me afterwards so I can share with you a few inspirational frameworks. We call them frameworks that I personally use to play around with, because you can really think about it as like a creative task where with Twain you can actually achieve any message structure you want. And that's the unique part. Like without having like consistently at scale. Like even when you use personalization, and again, I was talking about testing and A/B testing.
Right.
It could be in the PS, it could be in the body, it could be in the opener, right? So like whatever you want to test, wherever you want to put it, and I'll quickly show you what this now. We have generated this campaign now, like Twain generated 3 message steps for me. Looks very similar to what we saw when I first opened the app. And here is where Twain has generated a framework for me that now I can play around with.
Right.
And yeah, for time reasons, of course, like, of course, I have many here. And again, I'm happy to share a few with you. So, like, as an inspiration. But Twain always gives you a starting point. So we don't have the cold start problem. And then you can build these paragraphs basically based on what you want to achieve. So what do you want in the opener? What do you want in the body? What do you want in the closing or call to action or PS? Something else that's very important is what Twain generates here on the top right side, which is all fact-based research. You'll also see now, for example, I'll just for the sake of it, I'll generate a few others. So when you upload the lead list, you're not actually spending any credits. It is designed in a way so you can preview, and then when you manually click, it only manually spends credits, but not for the entire lead list. And I just want to show you like the difference. But yeah, something that's really cool is that you can hover above the bits and pieces of the message and then understand where this is coming from. And for example, here you can see I didn't click anything. I just hovered and it automatically tells me, hey, by the way, Mo, like here's where it's from. This is the source. This is the date. Because one key like reason why people even buy Twain and use Twain is that it's just safe to scale because it's based on real facts. So that's like very, very important because we've all seen what can happen with AI when we scale it. Um, yeah, so that's one of the reasons why we've built the app the way we did it. Now, yeah, exactly. I wanted to show you like a few other examples where you can see this here. This is all real time. Like whatever is available, we will find like on the day. Like if it's something happened today, you can see here September 2nd. It's probably the most recent. Yeah. So now of course, you can like change the length, you can change the tone, you can create your own tones. Like I'm not gonna go super deep into this. You
Right.
can give Twain instructions, right? But we want to get through something. But this is like the app, and this is how fast I created a campaign. Every single one of them has their own message.
Understood. And one question from my end here, Mohammed, which is something we most commonly get, right? So, have you seen a specific type of content work really better for your users? So, for example, in terms of the number of words they have, or anything else, have you seen a specific type of copy work better? Or do you have any recommendations?
Yeah. So we uh, like there are some like general rules like make it like it should work on likely work on mobile, simple language, just like simple to understand. But I also do think, and we saw that it makes a difference. For example, some markets, the local language, like German speaking markets,
Right.
definitely people see better results in German speaking markets using German. Germans are not like super used to English outreach just because they are basically spoiled, let's say, in a sense of receiving a lot of content and everything in their native language. Of course, you see like a little bit of uh, also a difference in cultural differences. In that sense, we have the language selector here, where we have some languages that should cover a lot, where you can switch the language for your campaign. Um, but generally speaking, I think we also seen like our customers have also seen um, long messages perform. I think in today, like even for me speaking as someone who receives a lot of these messages, I think the one thing that you can't do is do what everyone else is doing. I think that's like just the one thing that will make your life harder. And the easiest thing to mention in terms of like what is everyone else doing, everyone has the same subject line. Like these like super common subject lines.
Understood.
That's I would say where we have unfortunately, even if like everything else is great, we have we have developed some kind of blindness to that. I can say that, right, like when you export to Smartlead from Twain, for example, right here, I can now rename these things. So just have to um, um, decide which campaign to pick. Of course, I mean, these custom fields, I can leave them that way if you want it to be easier. Intro one, follow-up one, follow-up two. But what I just wanted to mention is something also pretty incredible, in my opinion, is like we actually generate unique subject lines for you.
Wow.
And they are unique for every single lead. And you can pick between four different types, which you can then also A/B test.
Beautiful.
And then in Smartlead, you can just use them. I'll show it in a second as a custom variable in the subject line, which are real written subject lines, right? It's not like company name and like question or something.
Understood.
So yeah. So that's what I would say. But generally speaking, our first campaigns didn't perform super well. We are now in the second wave, performing well better. But I mean, it's just normal. I think you
Yeah,
you just have to
absolutely.
like, yeah.
Understood.
So yeah, that would be like the application. Again, you have native integrations. You can also export to Google Sheets. Something that is very popular is to do both. There's no difference in price or anything. because you want all the insights and like all the research that we do, you want to push that to your CRM, for example. Very common use cases. You want to push that, you want to offer it to your clients. Your clients want that in their CRM. You want to push it to the BDR team to prepare for a demo or to prepare for a cold call, to have some talking points, becoming very popular. So yeah, and now, okay, let's go to the, let's say, the next step, or you could also argue the first step where you build the list would be Clay. But yeah, I basically just uploaded the entire exact same list, by the way. So
Right.
nothing is different. I didn't, prepare in the sense of anything. The only difference is probably that I only mapped the name, the LinkedIn profile, and the email, because I wanted to show. So how do you find the Twain enrichment in Clay? You basically, of course, just search for Twain, find it here, and then you see this automatically gets mapped correctly. So how do you use it? You need to have a Twain account. It's totally fine to be on a free account. You can use Twain's API. You can generate your own API key for free. Um, and yeah, you can even use Clay credits and have a Twain, like your own Twain setup, because the key to having great quality, and that was like, again, from working with Clay for over a year now, we are on iteration 3. It's very, very, very clear that when someone puts in the work, let's say, to sign up to Twain and does what I just showed you here, and makes these edits and just reviews stuff, um, they get better results. They just get a higher quality. So we decided that this is now mandatory. Like, you have to create an account. It's fine to use a free, like, be on a free plan, have your own API key. But yeah, you need to have like a Twain account to use it in Clay.
Understood.
And then of course I can just pick from like all my campaigns, because I want to decide like what structure and message number of steps and stuff like that to use. And I can add some extra fields in here. Now, again, we wanted to like keep it simple so we can make some progress in this session. So something I didn't do, but I just wanted to quickly show you is like, of course, in Clay you can like enrich and pull in like any kind of signal, any kind of trigger. We also, of course, have like, again, an inbound flow where we use Twain for.
Right.
So when someone starts a free trial, we of course first try to identify them, and then they get on a personalized user, like we call it user journey, but it's basically a completely personalized inbound newsletter journey.
Right.
Where we have, of course, the signal that they signed up. But yeah, you can add like any kind of signal. Obviously, they can be row specific. If you have, sometimes you have like super specific points about this one lead in terms of, I don't know, I've built a unique persona for them. Sometimes you want very specific social proof. And then when you use Twain here, you can, for example, add additional context here, and you can add signals or trigger here. Now, talking a little bit about best practice again, where we see like many people make many mistakes, even without like using Twain. I'm talking about using AI now. Um, like I would say the most common mistake, and I'm like not even going to talk about wrong data, like that's obviously a big problem as well,
Right.
that it's just straight up wrong. One of the most biggest mistakes is that we just pull in and generate, we use Claude or GPT to just generate wrong things that don't matter. Like, it is very, very difficult for us humans, if you are not a background in machine learning, and data science, to understand what should I actually use it for, or what would actually matter. So like that is actually one of the common mistakes. And if you'd ask me, without looking at your setup at all, if you'd ask me what can I do different, like right now, today, after the session, I would just tell you, make everything shorter. Everything you'll ask GPT to put out for you, make it dramatically shorter. Or of course, if you like if you want to say, no, I want everything here first, I have a summary, then look at that summary and ask yourself what is the single most important piece of information, and then basically abstract that into another column. And then that other column where you have it abstracted or just like yeah, just boiled down basically. That's what you can then push into Twain or into any other API call. Again, we are also happy if you want to use any other tool or API call or whatever to generate the message. Just make everything shorter. It will lead to better results for you. I mean, in results in the sense, of course, of quality and just like accuracy. So that's like very, very common mistake. Now, the other mistake that we see is that people don't like, and this is very, very difficult to solve without something like that's what Twain solves for you. It's like we understand it's very difficult to solve. Data inputs will sometimes lead to wrong, like just messed up data output. And that's actually what leads to these funny screenshots that people share on LinkedIn or X, where they say, "Oh, AI is so stupid," blah blah. So it's actually the human that making the mistake, but the human is making the mistake because it's very difficult to get right. So like that's actually very difficult to solve, but I just wanted to like share that it's actually a core thing that we or why people again like why they use Twain because data is so inconsistent. It is really like one of the easiest things to solve is that someone has an emoji like in their name on LinkedIn. That's still very easy. But like when we like one of why our own setup, like what we have built in the background under the hood is so expensive is because we have to solve so many problems that can happen. Doesn't mean that we have to solve them for every single lead, but that can happen, which has to do with like, let's say data quality or data like cleanness or whatever, so that you don't have to worry about that. But just so you know, like one of the things that is so unpredictable is, you know, when data is inconsistent and not clean. That's also where this garbage data in, garbage data out comes from, like which we see everywhere basically. But it is actually very difficult, and we like our deep research made a big difference for us as well. Again, not even comparable price-wise with like using a language model, but also way, way, way more complex to build, but allows us to deliver the highest accuracy. So these are like very common pitfalls that we see when you're, let's say, in even in Clay, like generating with Claude or GPT. You sometimes people use AI to generate even the first like let's say data inputs, like what could be typical pain points, right? Or like what could I talk about? Like go to this website and read this or whatever. And then to like actually also generate this.
Understood.
So yeah.
And one quick
Yeah,
question
and
from the
then
chat,
yeah, please.
Mohammed, right? And Jacob has answered it. Jacob is answering things left, right, and center.
Ah, awesome.
But
Awesome.
still one for
Thank you,
you.
Jacob.
What are some common examples of relevant signals? Talking about signals,
Hmm.
you've seen, Mohammed.
Yes. So, I mean, I think you like I would say I would say I would be more confident telling you how you'll figure it out for yourself. And for everyone listening here. Or for your client, of course. Very important as well because I mean, you're helping your client, but it's their product, right? They need to understand their ICP
True.
better. So basically, for example, one really good way to understand why is like, of course, it will be super scrappy to like find your first customers or your first, prospects or whatever. But like once you have a few customers and like, people that actually like and use your product, you need to understand like super on a very deep level what prompted them to, let's say, try. I mean, for Smartlead you can go on a free trial. For Twain you can go on a free trial. Like that's a moment, like what prompted you, hey, in that moment to sign up. And then we also asked them like what prompted you to buy, like what was the next moment, let's say, in the product sometimes.
Right.
And I also saw when I bought Smartlead, which was very cool, that you also afterwards asked me, hey, can you write a review? Um, like really try to collect information about these important moments. Um, so and then like many people are happy to like share that. And then obviously you have to, give homework to your client to figure this out if they don't know. But basically, to understand what signals work is basically to understand in what moment they are likely, as we all know, only 2 to 3% of buyers are actually in the market, blah blah. So like, what should what's like why should someone what's something actually interesting? And of course, like these typical ones are someone job descriptions are being put up, right? Or exactly, basically, on the other side, someone started a new position, job was filled. These are like very typical ones. I think they are almost like the safest ones. I would say some of the riskiest ones, again, where we see a lot of mistakes happen, and I don't think it's like the wrong thing to use, like very important as a disclaimer. It's just where we see it's error prone is using social signals. Like when you look at, who commented where, who liked this, who's talking about these keywords, it's just a bit more difficult, in my opinion, to get right. Like that's just my opinion, like where what we see. Again, this is all only talking about scale, right? Like only talking about putting something, even when there's a human in a loop, like putting something in a working like automation or running campaign. Um, yeah, so these are like just things, but generally speaking, we would definitely clearly understand what prompted your existing users, if they are users that you want to go after, or like from a persona perspective, clearly understand why. Like, why did they look into this? Why did they sign up? Why did they buy? Why did they refer to Twain or Smartlead or whatever? Yeah.
Understood. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. And then like maybe one last thing here on Clay, on like okay, like what like best practice. So of course, one cool thing is that you can actually write natural language and then you can like reference a field. And something where you would help Twain is sometimes I see that, for example, someone just writes like signal. That's it. Of course, like we always work on like understanding everything, right? Like we do our best, and like it's our responsibility. We also believe it's our responsibility to, make it as easy as possible for people. But I can just say from a best practice perspective that it's just like it is helpful when you give some context, like write an actual sentence about, here is, this is the reason why we are getting in touch with them. They um, showed interest. Here's what they did. Something like that, right? Like it might look a bit weird, but just to add some additional context, I mean, this is very generic. If I knew like what signal it is, I could write like a little bit more. But yeah, so that would be just from a best practice perspective, something that is helpful because once again, like in the beginning where I talked about, that Twain is capable of actually doing in context deep research to take like your persona and your campaign idea. We're also capable of taking your signal and trigger when we do the deep research. So it does matter when you add it. Um, One big difference when you actually run Twain inside Twain and when you run Twain like in Clay is that when you, let's say, rerun this, right? Like I'm changing something, and I'm running it again, you're actually not spending any credits. Like you can iterate on it for free, even though we have the cost.
Wow.
When you do it in Clay, just every API call will spend 1 credit because as of like technically, we cannot attribute it to that inside that campaign. So I just wanted to share that, which is really cool because also, for example, you have the campaign and then like you want to add another follow-up, right? Maybe you already ran this campaign, you come back, you want to add a follow-up, it's free. As long as you stay in this campaign. So yeah. Cool. So yeah, now, okay, we have the messages. We have like something returned. Okay, what does Twain return, right? We return the messages, of course. They are all formatted. I think that's pretty standard that you can add them as a column, right? Give them like a logical name. We return all the research. We also return like all the references of the research. Very important, very valuable, because that's what, again, when you work with clients, right, or you work with a BDR team, right, or like, you have left and right people that depend on your work, like you can, you already paid for that. Like you can push that, for, again, demo prep, for like cold calling prep, or just really to have these relevant data points for, like, let's say later on if you're gonna go through your CRM or something, right?
Right.
So yeah, so we return all of this. Now, okay, let me just map the subject line because we also return the subject line. And now I want to push this to Smartlead. Um, Now, of course, we have the Smartlead integration. Also, just gonna quickly like add this. Okay, I have my API key here, of course, already connected. Um, Now, I probably didn't have to. Okay, so I want to push this to RevOps too. And of course, because we have all the messages, you want to keep this simple. What do we care about? We care about the custom fields. We want to push the subject line. We want to push the emails to Smartlead. I'm going to add 3 custom fields, of course, for the messages. Okay, this is message. This is actually the first intro. And then this is the follow-up. Okay, so I'm going to save it. Cool. All right, so RevOps 2. Now we're gonna check like what did we yeah, so here we can change the subject line. I just
Right.
have to check what we this was the what we actually called this custom. I just want to make sure what we called this custom variable. And then it should pop up. Oh, of course, I mean I'm not like optimizing on the message steps here. Yeah. So this is the follow-up now. I mean, I'm just going to show you also the introduction. Yeah, and maybe just one thing, like the interesting thing here, of course, is which might feel a bit weird, that the entire message is in the custom variable.
Absolutely.
And you will find the entire message in the lead as well in Smartlead. When you look at the leads, you'll find them as like custom fields. We have pushed them, otherwise there wouldn't be the message, right? So we understand it's kind of a novel approach. It's very cool that Smartlead already supports this. Like I am like also for deliverability reasons, maybe Jacob can also say something about that, because he's been with us using Twain for clients like forever. And right, like this approach of like we call over and over again, see that it has an impact, that we are like using that. So yeah, so obviously now you still have to, like, if you want to add some like HTML, if you want to add like and then your signature and things like that, that's obviously outside the Twain generated message. but the Twain generated message is in that one custom variable. Oh, no, I don't need to add a custom variable here. Yeah. So sometimes previews, in some of these tools, they don't show the actual formatting, but you just send a test email. You'll see that the formatting, when you send it from Smartlead is correct. It's just a preview sometimes. Yeah, you can see it here as well. So yeah, this was actually pretty fast. This was the entire thing. I could have done the entire thing, of course, for like everyone. It would have taken a few more minutes, of course. I mean, like when you have to do this for like thousands of leads, it can take a while. But generally speaking, one of the reasons why I have like two Twain versions here is just to show you you can even like A/B test like inside of Clay. You can just run like two different ones if you want to change something and test, which you can then all push to the same smart lead campaign, or of course to like two different smart lead campaigns. But yeah, I mean it's super smooth. You don't have to set up like a new campaign every single time in Twain. I would recommend best practice wise, just like set up a few of your favorite approaches and campaigns, um, and get a feeling for it. In the beginning, it will take a little longer, but after that, you can really live and execute inside Clay with Smartlead. Really, Twain is for you to be the creative part to make sure everything looks correct and it works, and you can actually like trust and scale this. But the execution happens then in Smartlead and in Clay. And that would be it from my side. I hope we are good on time.
Absolutely.
Um,
We are good on time. We have 15 minutes. So usually once you're done, the floor is open for questions. So for anybody who has questions, turn on your video, click on the react option at the center bottom of your screen, raise your hand. I'll spotlight you and you can directly ask your questions to Chahin. But while they do that, Chahin, one question from the chat, right?
mhm.
I know this is automated in the tool, but wondering how should we think about the sequence of research to prompting? Is it context, research, prompting? Within context and research, which fields did you find are most critical to develop higher quality prompts and outcomes?
Yeah, great question. So I will also quickly explain why we do the research the way we do it, because there are tools out there where you can search for specific signals. And we have intentionally decided, and I mean, that might work and everything. Like, I can't talk about that. I'm just going to tell you why we decided to build it the way we build it. And the reason why we've built it the way we build it is because data, once again, like I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's just reality. Data is so inconsistent. It's one of the most difficult things in all of our jobs. So we decided that the very most important thing to us is that you can trust Twain and that it's accurate, that what your leads are going to read is correct and that it's accurate. So that's why you can nudge Twain. So talking about this context field, I think that's one of the things mentioned in this questions, and the persona, both is important. Also, if you map something under signal and trigger, I would not be confident to tell you, no, there's one thing you have to get right, the other thing not that important. Uh, invest the time, like it's like it. I wouldn't even like call it prompting. I would really just think about it as if you would talk to a human. For example, when you write the campaign idea, and when you write the persona, just keep it to very short statements so that they are like granular. Don't try to fit in like too much content into one thing. So, but all of it is important. We will be capable of using all of it for context, and we will be able to nudge Twain. But Twain does not promise you one specific signal because it is impossible to promise 100% accuracy with that. Because we will bring back what we have most found relevant. But if we would promise you one signal, AI will make a mistake. And even deep research, like that's that's why we don't do it, because we believe in accuracy and then we will return it for you. So you can use these the research that we did, and again we back it by like the important things like sources.
Understood. Thank you for that. There's one more question from Grant. When is it necessary to use Twain versus a syntax message? As an agency, spend is conservative, and we can jump into Twain doing deep research on all contacts for all campaigns for all clients. So, how should we think about where to start? Should we start with the campaigns targeting enterprises? How small should the TAM be when we switch from a syntax campaign to a Twain campaign?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think there's like even a question to compare these two. Like, it's significant. I mean, it's just way more advanced and comprehensive, and solves like significant issues with spin-texting. But I don't want to call it spin-texting. I want to call it template. When you can use a template for campaigns, and I would say what is, let's say, Twain best practice for agencies is, yeah, understand like what kind of copy matters to that audience and that business, because sometimes there's also an audience, there's nothing to research. Like, then you should also not use Twain, let's say, or it just doesn't matter, or they don't care. But more importantly, probably like nail the message marketing, let's say, or like a message marketing, a message market fit together with your client. Work with them on that on small scale. You can also say, let's start using Twain on small scale on just a fraction of this lead list before scaling it to like just make sure it actually makes a difference and makes your life easier. So I think it matters, how confident are we in message market fit, and is this even relevant to this audience? But if both of this is correct, there's not even a question like that. You cannot even compare it like in that sense. Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah.
awesome. Those are all the questions we had on chat. Folks, again, if you have any other questions, click on the react option on the center bottom, raise hand, turn on your video. I'll spotlight you. You can shoot your questions directly. And if not, we'll call it a day. You can also drop your questions on the chat. I can pick it up for you as well. Any questions?
Oh, yeah. What was there any other question?
There
Or
was
I
one question,
actually.
if you can track back, which is in terms of writing the copies, what or which grade does Twain write the email copies? Are you able to kind of give the grade that you wanted to write, or how does it work, Chahin?
Yeah. Well, let me one more time quickly share my screen.
Mhm.
So here the default tone is informal, and you can see it's like a casual, soft, and friendly style, which but I can tell you like all of them are written in very simple language. You can, change it, the formality, for example, specifically, which is very popular, like to go from informal to formal. Um, it will still use simple language. That's like a default. You can enforce any, like through the framework, for example, right? You can enforce any kind of language. But generally speaking, it's going to be simple language. Um, I think what is more important than worrying about the language grade, let's say, is actually understanding. And again, if you're working with like clients, it's very, very important that your client tells you this, is what are some key like words, phrases, terms, in this industry. If it's industry agnostic, maybe in this profession, or like that are important. Like, what will they say? Oh, okay, this person at least understands what I'm doing. That's what I would invest more time in, to be honest, than just like optimizing for like exact, right?
Understood. I'm just trying to see if there are any more questions. Sorry if I missed this, but does Twain enrich emails on its own without Clay? If so, what is Clay needed for? If not, is there any value in having it without Clay?
No, it works. It works directly with Twain to Smartlead, and Twain finds double verified emails. And one thing that is we found is, let's say, I cannot say if it's unique, but I can say that many tools that we tested make this mistake, and we have intentionally worked on it, is that when you search for emails, there's often the case that someone has multiple active jobs on LinkedIn. And we have to intentionally work on, and again, that's when you use like Twain's, I can once again quickly share my screen. And you'll find it here. Well, one second. I already have emails. That's why it's not popping up here. Let me see if I can find one where I don't have emails. Here. Yeah. Find emails, and then I can remove them. It will only pop up when the leads don't have an email that I mapped. So what is difficult is that actually find the email of the right employment on LinkedIn, because often they might have like multiple jobs. So yeah, we also take care of that, and yeah. So yeah, and then you can directly push to Smartlead directly from Twain. We have the native integration.
Understood. Awesome. I think those are all the questions we had for today, Mohamed Chahin. Thank you so much for taking the time. Absolutely lovely. And is there anything else you'd want to cover before we part ways?
No, I just saw like one more question here. Can I use Clay credits once I created a Twain account? Yes, you can. And actually, this is brand new. I hope they forgive me that I'm sharing this here now, because actually we had to build something that didn't exist on Clay's platform before. So they've built it only for Twain, because quality is so important. And we wanted everyone to have a Twain account, but also be able to use Clay credits. So yes, you can sign up to Twain, have a Twain account, try everything out using Clay credits.
Understood. And last question, how do we get in touch with the person at Twain to learn more?
Probably LinkedIn is pretty good, but I would say, okay, now I don't know if this is good that I'm saying this, but if you actually use like our intercom chat, I would say we are already like a bit like well known for how fast we are in terms of support. So actually, like if you actually really want our attention or my attention, just use our either support email or support chat. Like that has like the highest priority for us, even because sometimes you just miss messages on email if they would email me directly or if they would message me on LinkedIn, either through you, so through Smartlead's team, or like through actually just Twain. Yeah, that has the highest priority. We always on it.
Awesome. Awesome. Perfect. But Mohamed
Cool.
Shaheen, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time.
you.
First of many. I'll see you again on one more session of Office Hours.
Yes.
Respect you all for taking the time today. And as you all know, three consistent things in life: death, taxes, and Office Hours every Thursday. See you all on the next one. Ciao. Bye bye.
Ciao. Thank you, everyone. Bye.